Picture this. Deep within the warm, sunlit swamps of the South American Amazon basin, there swims a creature of just absolute striking elegance. With that unmistakable arrowhead body and those incredibly long, flowing fins that just weave effortlessly through the underwater plants, the freshwater angelfish really commands your attention. I mean, they are the undeniable centerpieces of the aquatic world, bringing a literal slice of raw, majestic wilderness straight into our living rooms. But beneath all that undeniable beauty lies a pretty complex set of environmental and social needs that, honestly, are way too often misunderstood. So, welcome to the complete Welfare First explainer on caring for the freshwater angelfish. We are moving way past mere survival today to focus on how to help these magnificent creatures truly thrive.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Before you even think about setting up a tank, you've really got to understand the timeline here. A healthy freshwater angelfish is definitely not a temporary pet. It's a very serious long-term commitment. When you provide them with optimal conditions, these fish can live for 10 to 12 years. You are literally building a forever home. To make sure we set up that forever home perfectly, we'll quickly walk through our hierarchy of care today. We're going to cover 1. The majestic angelfish itself, 2. A welfare first tank setup, 3. Natural behavior and tank mates, 4. Proper diet and daily care, and finally, 5. Health and breeding. All right, section 1, the majestic angelfish. Let's look at their origins and species profile.
So these guys trace their roots back to the tropical waters of French Guiana, Brazil, Guyana, Colombia, and Peru. Now, when we say they live in swampy waters and floodplains, it's super important to clarify that this does not mean dirty water. Their natural riverbed habitat is packed with vegetation and has this soft, sandy bottom, but the water itself is remarkably clear. This allows tons of warm sunlight to shine right through the surface. And this very specific, sunlit, slow-moving environment, it dictates absolutely everything about how we should be caring for them in captivity. What's really fascinating is exactly how their bodies have adapted to that environment. Think about their unique dimensions for a second. While a fully grown angelfish might only reach about 3 to 4 inches in length, they can actually grow up to a staggering 6 inches tall. That tall, arrowhead shape allows them to navigate vertically through dense vegetation in the wild. But in captivity, it means those standard, shallow aquariums are completely out of the question. They absolutely need vertical swimming space. Moving into section 2, welfare first tank setup. We are building the perfect forever home. Now, we really need to draw a hard line between the absolute bare minimums and an actual welfare-first standard. While you technically could keep one single angelfish in a 20-gallon tank, we're aiming much higher than that. Because of those tall bodies and their naturally territorial, semi-aggressive nature, space is your absolute best friend. A welfare-first approach means adding an extra 10 gallons for every additional angelfish. So if you're planning a community or a small school, you really need to be looking at a tank that is 55 gallons or larger.
Okay, water parameters. These are non-negotiable. Replicating their Amazonian home means locking in a consistent tropical temperature somewhere between 75 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit. You also want a slightly acidic pH level hovering right around 6.8 to 7.0 and a water hardness of 4 to 12 DGH. The logic here is simple. Keeping these parameters incredibly stable is the absolute best way to prevent stress and disease. It's the fluctuations that harm the fish, so consistency is key.
But beyond the water itself, the actual physical environment matters just as much. Let's run through this checklist. First, you definitely want to go with a soft sand or mud substrate. Angelfish love to dig, and harsh, sharp gravel is just going to scrape up their bodies and mouths. For your filter, use a low-flow aerator to mimic those slow-moving Amazon streams. You really don't need any intense power heads or extra bubblers. Throw in plenty of Amazonian broadleaf plants, things like Amazon sword, anacharis, and Java fern. But actually scratch that for floating plants. You should strictly avoid those. Angelfish are used to sunlight penetrating the water, and floating plants just block out that light and overcrowd the surface. And finally, drop in some hollow decorations and caves. This gives them a place to retreat and helps them establish their necessary territorial boundaries.
All right, section 3, natural behavior and tank mates. Let's talk social dynamics in the aquarium. So angelfish are completely diurnal. That simply means they're up and highly active hunting for food during the daytime, and they sleep at night, just like us. Because they rely so heavily on this day-night cycle, keeping a strict 8 to 12-hour lighting schedule with your aquarium LEDs is vital. Not only does it keep those live plants healthy, but it actually regulates the angelfish's natural rhythm and helps them maintain that vibrant, striking coloration.
When they sleep in the dark, or honestly when they just get stressed out, their colors will naturally fade and dull.
Now, when we look at social dynamics, remember that angelfish are part of the cichlid family. While they're generally peaceful, they definitely have a semi-aggressive territorial streak, especially when they're closed up in a tank. You're going to want to pair them with robust, mid-sized species that won't be easily bullied by a pushy neighbor. Other angelfish are awesome if you have the space. You can do a group of up to 6 in a really large setup. Besides them, dwarf gouramis, bottom-dwelling plecos, pictus catfish, mollies, and other compatible cichlids like the discus make fantastic tank mates.
But here is a massive red flag on what not to include. Do not, and I mean do not, house angelfish with small invertebrates like ghost shrimp, cherry shrimp, or crabs. The angelfish will basically just mercilessly harass them. Also, stay away from extremely small or super shy fish. It's pretty simple. If a fish is small enough to fit inside a grown angelfish's mouth, there is a very, very high probability it's going to end up being a snack.
Which brings us to Section 4, proper diet and daily care. Time to nourish the omnivore. Out in the wild, angelfish are actually fierce little hunters. They pick off insects, larvae, and tiny crustaceans. To replicate that energy at home, you need to provide a high-protein omnivorous diet. Roughly 40% of their meals should be high-protein live or frozen prey, stuff like tubifex worms, bloodworms, or brine shrimp. Another 40% can be a high-quality, really nutritious cichlid flake or pellet. And that final 20%? That should be high-fiber plant matter. Think tiny amounts of blanched spinach or zucchini just to keep their digestive tract moving smoothly. When it comes to your daily feeding strategy, you've got to be disciplined. You should feed them at least twice a day, but portion control is everything. You only want to drop in a small pinch of food that they can completely finish within exactly 2 minutes. If there's food left floating around after that strict 2-minute window, you overfed them. You'll want to scoop that uneaten food out immediately with a net. That is the big secret to maintaining pristine water quality and avoiding those nasty, toxic ammonia spikes.
Let's move into our final section, number 5, health and breeding, ensuring longevity and legacy. Listen, even in totally dialed-in setups, illness can strike, usually because a little bit of stress compromised their immune system. You need to be on the lookout for 3 major warning signs. First up is itch. This is a parasite that literally looks like tiny white salt grains stuck to their body, making the fish wildly itch its rocks and act super lethargic. Second is dropsy, a pretty severe bacterial infection where their body bloats up and their scales stick outward like a pine cone. And third is fin rot, where the edges of those beautiful flowing fins get all milky and shredded. That one is almost always caused by fluctuating or just poor water conditions. If you catch these early, you can totally treat them. But remember, holding consistent water parameters and keeping a stress-free tank, that is absolutely your best preventative medicine. Now, on a way more positive note about their legacy, let's talk breeding. I've got a wild number for you, 400. A single, healthy female angelfish can lay up to 400 eggs at one time. No way, right? They are incredibly prolific and actually one of the much easier freshwater fish to breed, as long as the conditions are right. If you do decide to take on the totally fascinating process of breeding them, it does require a responsible, dedicated setup. Step 1, just let the fish pair off naturally in your community tank and then move that newly established pair into a separate 20-gallon breeding tank kept nice and warm at 82 degrees. Step 2 is conditioning. You gotta feed them high-protein live food like tubifex worms up to 4 times a day just to get them ready. For step 3, provide a slanted spawning surface for the female to lay those hundreds of eggs on. A simple piece of PVC pipe or a broadleaf like Anacharis works perfectly for this, and then the male fertilizes them externally. Amazingly, the parents will actually care for the newly hatched fry at first. But for step 4, you absolutely must remove the parents after about a month because eventually they might just turn on the young.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, right from their Amazonian origins all the way to breeding the next generation. So let's quickly summarize the core actionable takeaways with our Welfare First checklist. To truly help an angelfish thrive, you're going to want a 55-gallon or larger tank for a community setup. You need to hold a rock-solid, consistent temperature of 75 to 82 degrees with low-flow filtration. Give them a soft sand substrate to protect them, along with plenty of broadleaf plants. Make sure to house them only with compatible mid-sized tank mates. And lastly, keep those vibrant colors popping with a varied, protein-rich diet fed twice daily in very strictly controlled portions. And that brings us to our final thought. The freshwater angelfish is breathtaking, it's interactive, and it's just endlessly rewarding to keep.
But they definitely demand space, total consistency, and a lot of dedication. So looking at everything we've mapped out today, from the water chemistry to the dietary discipline, are you truly prepared to provide a pristine, 12-year forever home for the majestic freshwater angelfish? If your answer is yes, then you are about to embark on one of the absolute best journeys in the aquatic hobby. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep on learning.